You could think that this retreat, the title of it, is no different than other ones. After all, this teaching has always been about the evolution of me. But using the term ego is simply changing significantly the emphasis, as you will see. The subject of ego is not new. We had the whole retreat devoted to it, enlightenment to ego. But that sense of identity in ego remains very elusive, and I hope you will be able to somehow capture it better in this retreat, in the context of its evolution. We begin with something very important. Letting go into the body. Breathe. And with exhalation, letting go. So that your consciousness can properly enter your body. Everybody has a body, but they are not in the body. They are connected to it, identified with it as well, through that complex system of nerves that connect the central nervous system, which is the brain, to the body. And all of that is entirely subconscious. And then there is the connection of ego to the body. And ego occupies a very small portion of the brain in the front. And it represents the part of us which is at least relatively conscious. All the rest is unconscious or subconscious. So if we look at the design of a human being, it's actually very awkward. Here we have the center of ego in the front of the head, which is the center of control, decision making. It is the master center of the body. And it exists just in this tiny space. It does what it was designed to do, which is connecting the unconscious and the subconscious with a conscious awareness, and it's mostly in relation to the world and our external circumstances. But it is unaware of itself. That's why it is not really conscious initially. It is just closer to being conscious than anything else in our body and the brain. Ego is also the center of our intelligence. And it evolves in intelligence through the mind. So evolution of ego is very much connected to the evolution of the mind. But because the design of this reality is very primitive and is mostly oriented towards survival and fulfilling of our earthly desires, so the evolution of ego is very externally oriented. If you look at this world, especially as technology developed, science developed, internet developed, there is a lot of information. And ego is using this information to become more clever. And it has become indeed very clever, but it does not mean that it has become wise. Cleverness is not wisdom. In fact, often it is just the opposite. Wisdom is when you use information to enhance the quality of your being and not just manipulate your environment. So here we have an average human being, stuck in this front of the head. There's no clear sense of self, nothing that one can really identify. Living in that overactive mind, and then having very little connection to the body. A man-machine, as Gurdjieff called it. This is what it is. So this is the beginning of our situation, and that situation has been created for the purpose of our further evolution. We are not supposed to stay in that situation, we are supposed to transcend it, to move beyond its limitations. Step number 1 is simple. But challenging due to the low evolution of this planet, which is the ego has to become conscious of itself. Ego has to be able to say I am. Not just I am because I function, like the Descartes saying, I think therefore I am. That is not conscious ego. That is ego which is deducing its existence by identifying its functions, but still unconscious of itself. So ego has to recognize itself. In fact, evolution of ego from certain angle is towards being. Ego is supposed to actualize being. And I'm not referring to being as the state of subjectivity we experience in our lower belly. That is a different use of the term being. It is connected, but now I am using the term being in a more general sense. Being means I exist independently from my activities. I do not exist just as a byproduct of my activities. I am not my activities. My activities are my creativity, my expressions. But even if all they cease, I still am, I still continue to exist, meaning I am having being. And that first level of being happens in the ego itself before it actually begins to facilitate its expansion into our overall pure subjectivity. Of course, you all know it, but try to feel it again from that new perspective. Who are you? Who are you in your ego? You can identify ego as the thinker, independent from thoughts, but ego is also present when thoughts are absent. It's crucial that you change your relationship with your ego. I'm not even speaking about all these superstitions, this, ignorant criticism of ego as found in different teachings. They don't know what they're talking about. Ego is criticizing itself, basically. Thinking, I am the problem. No, ego is not the problem. Ego is the solution. But I'm not even speaking about that. I am asking you to meet yourself on that level in a deeper way, as if for the first time. Who am I? Who am I as the thinker? Who am I as the seer? Who am I as the one who is making choices, who is reflecting on my life? Your ego is your true self, and your ego is your soul. And I can already see that some students may have resistance to accept it, or I cannot be my ego. Ego is so unattractive. I am my heart. I am my pure consciousness. Okay, that is acceptable. But to be ego, that's challenging to accept. But this is who you are. You are also your heart. You are also your pure consciousness. But these dimensions are the results of the evolution of ego. And without ego, without that not very appealing center, because initially it is not that appealing due to its limitations, but without that center, nothing exists. There's no heart, there's no body, there's no pure consciousness. So ask yourself again, who am I? Ego is a center that is not created. Everybody has it, everybody is born with it. Ego is a center that is not created, rather it is a center that is creating everything else. Including itself. It's not created, but it's creating itself through its own self-realization. So the first step is ego becoming conscious of itself. The next step is its expansion through pure subjectivity. Of course, there is also an additional component here. That I do not address because it's obvious. Evolution of its intelligence. And by that I mean its spiritual intelligence. Because ego is like that seat. Not like it is the seat of the Supreme Self in us. Individualized center of universal intelligence. God becoming an individual and being able to think, evolve from that place of being an individual. This is what ego is. Ego is God in you. Are you able to somehow change your relationship with your ego to such an extent that you can feel it? That this ego that you always disliked, hated, or unappreciated, or unappreciating, but this very one is God in you. Please feel it, and in this way you can awaken in a new way to yourself.